Okay, I'm going to show you how this tool works. It works for most applications. It's going to vary on what model you're using. So it's called a AI Prompt Merger. And what you're going to do is you're going to have a link below the video. And you're going to have some files like this. You want to click the index HTML file here. And you're going to double click it and load it in the browser. What this is going to do is going to combine the camera, select, and the prompt merger all together. So when you double click this, you'll see it open up right here. I already have it opened up with my settings, so I'm going to close this out. And I got some settings here. We're going to use the Higgs field for this example, and we can keep these together. So we got this menu here. This will add into the prompt field here. We got menu 1 and menu 2. Right now I'm not going to go over these. You can mess with them later. I don't believe it's a necessity to even mess with these. It works great just like it is. So you can mess with that later. Also, you will see it says my first prompt with a great white shark. We can press unlink and link. Okay, that makes a big difference. I can't explain it, it gets too long. I noticed you can mix match these here. You can link both of these together. I find it best in some cases to have one link and one not link. You'll have to experiment with it. So with that said, we'll go down to the next step. It's called swap description. Okay, I'm going to scroll down here and you're going to see things change. Alright. So you can see a great white shark here. If we swap, then you'll see the motorhome starts off here. Okay, you may want to use this to see what works best, because if one object dominates the other, by switching it, you can dominate the other one, vice versa. The most important things, probably the most important thing is to use these enhancers, okay? What this does is when you press enhance like 1, it just adds to the ending of right here highlighted in blue. It just adds to the ending, okay, every time that I switch this. These are very important to use. Alright, now we got custom enhance. The thing not to do is just click this, because it's going to open this up. We don't want to load from here, okay, because we're going to get prompt every time we load from there. So if we got a custom one, we'll press load here. Then we can see I got one with camera and one without the camera. Then if I switch between these two, I'll never get prompt again. You can see it update here. Now if I do any changes here, let's say you just put wheel, it won't update down here until you press generate. But normally when you switch between the two or do any kind of changes, like click any of these buttons here or link and unlink, it'll automatically update. So it's not necessary to generate prompt each time. So keep that in mind, and we'll go on to the next step. Just leave this off. Leave this on by default. Remember, load custom enhance. Just leave that alone. This works for invoke and flux mode. So with that said, now the flux mode will also work for invoke. If you don't have invoke, don't use it. Okay, that's plain simple. So I'm just going to show you some stuff over here, and before I do that, we got save text. This is going to save everything here. So if we save text, then it says 001. If we press save text again, 0. Now if we want to save a name to it and we want to be more specific, we'd press here and say, we'll just say test, okay? So any of these I loaded up, it's going to save my prompt, as you can see right here. If we decide that we want to use that later. So we're going to go over to Higgsfield here, and then you can do your adjustments over here. Most important thing it works really good with is this general right here. It works very good with this one here. So make sure that you use that one. The thing not to do is do not put any cameras settings up here. What you want to do, if you always want your cameras, I go to the camera setting just to show you. You go up to the top, switch to cameras, and you'll just select through any of these here and select what camera type you. This really gives it a good look to it. There's a tutorial, and you can follow through there for your camera setting. Now you can copy this and manually put this in here, but you can also do this through the right here. Okay, it's best to put the camera settings through your custom ones. As you can see here, I got my camera settings right here, and here I don't. So if I always want to load that camera settings, because it's a necessity to have it at the end and not, I'm going to select up here to the left and we get back over here. We don't want to add it to here. So if you can see I got my camera settings, so it's automatically going to put it down here. So if I select here, you can see it's no camera settings. Now when I press custom enhance, it's going to load the this one right here. So it will always be to the end. Keep that in mind, very important. And I like to use swap, because when one object is bigger than the other, it's good to try to swap them. It's also good to find out which enhancer is the best. Normally once you find a good enhancer, always kind of stick with it. You got to kind of scroll down to see what's going on. And once you get something working for you, it will normally work pretty good each time. Now this little slider right here, okay, this is kind of like the weight. You can mess with this here. You'll see it add the weight towards the end down here in the bottom, and leave it on default. 1 or 2 will work great. If you want to experiment, what I like to do is try like a high, medium, low, so I can kind of see what's going on, like a 5 and maybe a 9. Then when I do that, you'll see it update. And also good, when you do this, especially at a high, always do comparisons by swapping. So you'll generate one with swapping, one without swapping, okay? Then you'll have 2 separate prompts. This will give you a good idea how things are blending together. You can blend all kinds of things, and this works really good for Higgsfield for the general right here. I'm going to be showing some images between applications, and the first one will be through Higgsfield. Then you'll see another set of images that will have watermark called design. Then I'll do one for Invoke, will be the last one. Now different softwares or applications like Invoke, it does not like to do humans or animals together. It basically likes objects like cars and vehicles. As you can see in an example, these work real good if you want to just start off like a car and a helicopter. Helicopter works really good. So try to do these, as an experiment. So you would like I said, you can use it with Flux mode, with Invoke. I would highly recommend this at first. You'll get better results. Okay, I'll kind of explain that here in just a second. But if we select invoke, it creates, let's go ahead and just type in the car. And a helicopter. Alright, like I said, you can try, you can try both linkings, or you can, mismatch just to see what's going to work. Okay, then you'll see it update here. With invoke mode here, if you, like I said, you got all the other options, that'll change it. But it's got the, this now is enabled, okay? If we was in Flux mode, the bottom slider is disabled. Okay, so we're going to go here, and let's set this up to, if you do one, it's going to give you 2 separate prompts. So we'll leave it at 2, copy this, and I'll just kind of show you. So when you put the prompt in here, alright, we're going to paste this. If you select this right here, it shows dynamic prompts, you're going to get 2 different prompts, okay? It's kind of hit and miss, okay? And what you want to do is you want to set it to 1, because this will do 2 different prompts. If you set this up to 2, even though that it's gonna, or 3 maybe, it's still gonna show 2, but it's gonna go through a whole list and make a bunch of extra ones. So we'll set this down to here. I'm not gonna do it because it's gonna bog down my computer. So you'll start getting like a lot of images that look kind of the same, and that's where I kind of trying to shy you away from this, but you still can try it. If you have an image, even though that it doesn't look good, when you completely get done with an invoke, okay, and it's got all your images, alright, basically what you do is you find something that's kind of messed up, and then you're going to go ahead and use all, or you can press, you can do a couple options. You can right click, and there's all kinds, and recall prompt, or you can use the hotkeys. Now this is going to generate just one image, so the best thing to do is now to switch this to 3. Alright, now this is going to give it a bunch of random seeds, and you're going to get more variety out of this. Alright, just make sure that the random, you can't, it'll make its own seed. Because with the seed on and using dynamic prompt, you don't get a lot of changes. So in other words, what I'm saying is, if you don't even want to mess with that, just go ahead and what we're going to go down, and we're going to just choose Flux mode. This is the best way I could tell you, and do all your settings, and then you copy this and just set it to 3, and it's gonna duplicate these, okay? And you're gonna have 3 separate images. Well, the reason why it changes so much, because it uses a different seed each time. Now invoke, it doesn't like to do humans very well at all. It does, vehicles and cars, and with 3 or more, you'll start getting a lot of varieties, okay? So remember that. So like I said, I'm not going to press this. So when you click here, it's going to start changing, and like an invoke, it likes what I call flip-flop. It'll give you a good one, it'll give you a bad one, it'll give you a good one, it'll give you a bad one. Okay, not in all cases, but you want a variety anyway. You don't want to have something that's always going to be something similar. And if you do want something somewhat similar, then you would just go back here and try to just do the invoke right here. Okay. Then you can set this up. I'm not going to go over this disabled alternative. If you want to mess with that, you can. For Flux mode, Just don't mess with this at all. And like I said, I'll be going over some images I have. I got all kinds of images that you can check out. Pretty cool. I really like Invoke with vehicles. It does a really good job. And like I said, do the helicopter and car. It works really good. That way you can kind of see. Then you can move on from there how it kind of works. Just to start off with. I also use Design. You could try this out. And like I said, some of this works for just mechanical parts, and sometimes it'll work for both. I'm new to Design. I'm not sure if I'm using the right model or not, but I'm getting where it's not doing like cars and people and stuff like that mixed together, just vehicles. Higgsville I'm kind of getting both, as you can see through here, and it works for all kinds of stuff. But just keep that in mind. Even though I can't compare nothing because I don't really have a subscription here. But when I give you examples, you'll see the logo Design. You'll see where it's coming from. So basically, when I show you some pictures here in a little bit, first set will be through Higgsville, and you can see that. Then when you start seeing pictures that says Design on the bottom right, then we're going to be another set, and the last set will be through Invoke, and you'll start seeing some images like I got here, and I'll go over and just show you a little comparison. And before I go is there's all kinds of things that you can do. I mean, like in Higgsville, even though you start off with what you got going here, you can add things to it, like you can type in a background or something at the end here. It doesn't matter. And like on a road. But for starters, don't mess with this right now. And I have a slider that moves usually the last one here. You can also just manually, if you want to, just come over here and type, from 2 to 9. 1.0 is the highest, so I wouldn't go any higher than 0.9 at the end. You can put whatever you want. This influences, if I'm getting too much of one thing, like right here, I'm getting a lot of the RV, sharks not blending, but it's still cool. And what I like about this is these are kind of designs that you normally don't see, so this is kind of unique. It's kind of hit and miss, but if I created the same image all the time, I guarantee you I would probably be bored within an hour. This keeps going, so we'll go in and the next step, and I'll show you some samples. Here's a little extra tip before I finish up. And in Invoke, I mistakenly didn't use enhancers. That was by mistake. Make sure you use these all the time. So if you find something that works good for you, kind of stick with it, because you'll get better, more precise. I wouldn't say precise, but the majority of your images will look good. So if this works good for you, then you try something else. That also may work for you. So try to stick to the one. For the extra little tip is, if we open up the clipboard on Windows 11, which will be the Windows key, you hold it down and press the V key. Okay, there's nothing to the clipboard here. So basically how you would use this is, once you find something you like, you would copy to the clipboard. Then we'd come up and press swap description, and would copy to the clipboard again. So when we open up the clipboard, bring it over here so you can kind of see it. The first one starts off with a helicopter, then the other one starts off with a car. So instead of going back and forth for each separate one, we can come back over here. What we'll do is we'll Control A all this, open up the clipboard, and we'll start with a helicopter. Then we would generate. Then we'd select all this, select somewhere in here, Control A to select all the text, Windows V. Then we do the car. Then we generate. Then we can compare the two. Now you can do more than one on the clipboard, so 2 is just the example. Also notice that I said use the general here. Keep an eye on all my settings down here. I'm using ChatGPT. You can choose your ratio. I find the mid-size right here seems to be pretty good. Uses less credit. So keep an eye on all my settings when I'm using these at the bottom. So it'll be ChatGPT. You can use the middle. You can choose any of these, but make sure it's set to ChatGPT and general, basically.